In here, Jeep claims it invented the premium SUV with the original Grand Cherokee. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I always thought that the Range Rover was the first posh off-roader. Anyway, I'm not here to argue, but instead to review this, the new Grand Cherokee. Thanks to bold styling and shiny chrome accents, this is one go-anywhere vehicle that's guaranteed to earn you envious glances at both the races and the school run. It's also very good for carrying luggage because, as you'll see when the electric tailgate finally opens, it's got one of the biggest boots of any SUV, even though underneath here there is a full-size spare wheel. Now, if you need to carry larger items, you can, of course, fold down the rear seats. Now, as you can see, you've got a fairly flat low bay, which makes loading easier, and although the total volume isn't as big as on some of the rivals, it's going to be big enough for most people, unless of course you have a job carrying furniture about. What about room for the rear passengers? Well, if I climb in, you'll see that there's easily enough space for a full-sized adult. I particularly like the fact that these seats recline, well, pretty much as far as I've ever come across in any car. I mean, look at this, it's going to be great for long distance journeys in the back. However, look at down here, you'll see that you've got a bit of a transmission tunnel. Normally I complain about that, but this car's footwells are so large that they can accommodate a bit of insurgency from the central passenger. As for practicality in the front, well, the door bins are large, the glove box decent, the central cubby cavernous, and there's even somewhere for your wallet. However, the best thing about this car for me is the sheer amount of standard equipment you get. For instance, even the base level model gets bi-xenon headlamps, you get electrically powered leather seats, you've got a 30 gig hard drive system there. You can also connect your iPod to it and your telephone. There's parking sensors, there's a reversing camera. I mean, there's just so much stuff, and there's loads of safety equipment as well. In fact, if you go for the Overland model, the range topper, you also get lane departure warning, you get collision alert, you get adaptive cruise control, and also this really nice panoramic sunroof. There's even a sat-nav as standard as well. I mean, it's just fully loaded, this car. These days, most SUVs are more about the show than the actual off-road go, but that's not the case with this Grand Cherokee because it's one of the most capable mud pluggers on the market. You can actually set the car up for different services by turning this dial here. You even have a low ratio transfer box for when the going gets really tough, and on this particular range topping Overland model you can actually alter the height of the suspension as well, and you can even set it to a very low setting when you're parked to make it easier for your overweight Labrador to jump into the boot. One of the problems you get with quite a lot of SUVs when you take them out onto the open road is that you get quite a bit of wind whistle from their bluff sides and large wing mirrors at higher speeds, but this Jeep doesn't suffer from that at all. It's actually quite quiet inside. It also goes round corners very well. It's not the sportiest of sports utility vehicles, but it's not bad at all. And the auto box, it's nice and refined. It slushes gears together extremely well, and the engine, the diesel engine in this, is punchy. That said, it's not quite as economical nor as clean as what you get in the German competition, and as a result this car is a little bit more expensive to run. As for the downsides, well, one of the big ones for me is the ride quality, because this car, it's actually the range topper and it's fitted with air suspension. While it deals with bigger bumps well, it kind of shakes and fidgets about over the smaller imperfections in the road, and you've probably noticed that in the slightly shaky camera work, and that's not the cameraman, it's actually this car. Another issue I have is the seats, because they're so firm. In fact, I've sat on park benches which are more yielding than these chairs. And then there's the foot-operated parking brake. Now, I don't like those at the best of times, but this one actually rubs against your shin. Another problem is the quality. While the cabin seems pleasing at first, on closer inspection, a lot of the plastics are cheap and nasty. And the leather on the dash is so tough, it feels like it's been sourced from a cow that smoked 40 a day. My last issue with this car is that it will depreciate faster than a Volkswagen Touareg. However, you have to spend about £8 more for one of those cars if you want the same kit on it as you get on this 3-litre diesel Overland model. And really, that's the beauty of the Grand Cherokee, you see, because a premium SUV that's also good value for money seems like a bit of an oxymoron. However, this Jeep proves that it's not.